We are very proud to announce UMP Trading is an official partner with a proven profit track record.
Yeah, if you want great returns on your investments, be sure to check out UMP Trading.
Hello, welcome back to everyone that's tuning into our channel, American Ultra Stock. Here we are today, Braden and I. A little bit of a delay here on this video. It is the most popular segment in the channel. My apologies. I hold my hands up again, letting everyone down here in terms of scheduling. But here we are to bring the Stock Watch, the show where we analyze the players whose stocks went up or down based or not on their performances over the weekend. Right off the bat, Braden, who caught your eye and gets the first spot at the Stocks Up?
Yeah, so I think this week we're going to be trying to go for some under-the-radar players. I mean, it was probably the best week we've had for our players in Europe. I mean, all of the main guys scoring, but I mean, it's basically their standard now. So unless they do something really impressive, I don't think we're going to be picking, some of the stars for a couple of weeks. So my first player is going to be Brian Reynolds. He's kind of on the outskirts, the edges of the USMNT roster, our third right back or so, and he finally showed why Westerlo made him their club record transfer this summer with a man-of-the-match performance in their first win of the season against relegation rivals Kortrijk. He got the only assist after a brilliant run all the way from the length of the pitch. And yeah, he was just great on both ends, helped them secure a really, really big win for their season. And I mean, hopefully it'll start them in a positive direction. There hasn't been a lot of good results or positivities coming out of Westerlo this season, but Reynolds has been probably the sole bright spot, which is good to see. So yeah, hopefully this assist and the performance can help him and his team to have better performances the coming months.
Yeah, it's been tough for him there at Westerlo. I don't think he would have imagined the season would be turning out the way it is. I mean, it is horrific, to be honest, just barely getting the first 3 points there. And if you look at the goal, nice run, nice effort. But I felt like he should have scored, should have just taken a shot, honestly. It was nice that he got the assist, but should have just taken a shot. It would have been even better. But congrats to him. And as you mentioned, like Pulisic, he has gotten the Stocks Up twice in a row. He scores again. That's the standard that we were expecting. So yeah, that's the reasoning behind our picks that may be a little bit unorthodox in case you guys think that we're not picking the obvious ones. And my pick, he's a bit of an A-teamer, Luca de la Torre. I'm picking him mostly because at the start of the season, I was really concerned about him. I think we both were, considering that he wasn't starting games anymore. They did sign some players as well. And he always seemed to be the one player to be sacrificed if you had to push one of the central midfielders to the wings. He did finish last season sort of as a left midfielder, but now he's playing centrally and had a really good performance. Nice to get, his first relevant stat under his belt this season, so it's nice. I think it's really nice to look at De La Torre is really finding his level in Spain, and I'm really happy for him. Now, who did not impress you and gets a stock down, Braden?
Yeah, so it was between two center backs here, and Tim Ream is going to be lucky because he saved himself with an absolute display of class against Sheffield when Chris Basham unfortunately got injured, just showing the leader that he is and why, again, like I've said in the past, he should be our captain for the USMNT, staying with Basham and making sure the medical staff come into the field. So he's going to get a pass from me despite his horrible performance against Chelsea on Monday. And instead I'm going to pick Cameron Carter-Vickers. Maybe it's a bit harsh to pick someone who just came back from injury, but he did make the mistake that ultimately cost Celtic the draw in the Champions League in his first game back, which is not exactly how you want to re-announce yourself to the fans, especially after they have signed some center backs to replace him in the summer because of the injury. And he did look pretty solid in their league win over the weekend. He played all 90 minutes, which is good to see, and obviously he's back with the USMNT for this coming camp, but it's not necessarily the reintroduction he would have wanted. Hopefully he can adjust from it, and it's just going to be a little blip, but he has to be in stock down for me. We can't accept that.
Yeah, I'll be honest, every time Cameron Carter or CCV he plays against a good team or a relevant game, I feel like he underperforms, even Rangers. I feel like it's definitely not looking too promising because Celtic didn't really miss him. For that league, you don't really need that much quality to play a center back in terms of world-class level. And I don't know, I think he really should have gotten a move, but yeah, I agree with you. It's actually weird to see him included with the national team, but I mean, it's valid too. I'm not too bad about that one, but I'm also going for a center back. This man, he could very well be a regular feat on this segment for the Stocks Down. Palmer Brown, poor guy, man. Honestly, after a terrible season last year, where some people say he just needs to get away from France, well, he was a big part of why they got relegated. Now over in Greece, he had a good game midweek, but then he got injured. Didn't win a single ground duel, which is never nice to see for a defensive player, especially if you're a center back. 67% pass rating. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the game, but he got subbed out. So he was just starting to get, regular playing minutes as a starter, and then he gets injured. Stock has to go down from there. I mean, if CCV is the type of guy where we're not sure he deserves a spot in the A team, what is there to say about Palmer Brown? So I feel like it's a little harsh, but yeah, I gotta pick him. On a brighter note, who's the next player who got to stock up, Braden?
Yeah, Palmer Brown and Georgi Mihailovic are becoming the regulars on Stock Down here. I'm actually going to go for another center back. We just talked about two whose stock went down, and now I'm going to go for a bright spot, and that's Austin Trusty. He finally got his first start of the season for Sheffield in that game that I mentioned previously for Ream, and I thought he looked really good, honestly, in his first start. He seemed to be everywhere, especially in the first half, making headed clearances, interceptions, blocking shots. Just any threat that Fulham had in the first half, in particular, he was the one stopping it. And I mean, obviously, like I said, the injury to Basham is very unfortunate, but it does mean that he will almost be guaranteed a starting spot for the foreseeable future, which is nice to see, at least on that note. And I do think he deserves it. I think he was probably the best center back in the game. I mean, he only really made one mistake, and even then, he did recover. He let Carlos Vinicius get in a step behind him, but he recovered and still made the block to save the goal. So just really a solid performance from him all around. So yeah, his stock went up for me.
Yeah, I feel like Trusty, it's really nice. It was overdue for a start, to be honest, after some of the scoreline that happened. We can't ignore the elephant in the room, but I'm going for another defender. I'm going for Joe Scally. I felt like his stock was not exponentially going down, but little by little it was decreasing, and then he comes on and scores a banger. What a nice goal. Horrible celebration, to be honest. I don't know what's with some defenders that score nice goals and they don't know how to celebrate. I remember as a kid watching Hector Bellerin scoring a really nice goal against Manchester City and just sort of running to the middle of the pitch. They never know what to do. But hey, good job for Scally. It's really nice, and I'm just saying it now. I think maybe he's going to be a huge part to play in the Olympics. We saw the U23 roster. That's also a little bit of a tease. We're going to analyze that call up, which I'm just going to say I'm really happy about. But regardless, Scally gets the stock up. What a nice goal. Nice for him to actually be involved in a positive after being involved in substitutions. Last time out when he was subbed, things got better, but this time around he came on and decided the game, so I'm really happy for him as well. Now, who's your next pick, Braden?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be going for another defender for my stock down. And it's not really because of anything he did. Actually, I think he had his best game of the season is Jonathan Gomez. He had his first start and first goal involvement with an assist for Miranda's only goal against Eibar on Thursday. They ended up losing 3-1, but not anything to do with Jonathan Gomez. He was pretty solid, but the reason I'm saying his stock went down is because he wasn't included in the U23 Olympic preparation roster, and there's some speculation that Miranda's didn't release him. Maybe he just didn't get the call up. Who knows? There's no way to really be sure. But regardless, it's a big missed opportunity for him, especially with the sudden left back depth that seems to have come out of nowhere. I mean, it seems like earlier this summer we were talking about this being one of our main positions of weakness, but now Christopher Lund we recruited as a dual national, John Tolkien, Caleb Wiley have kind of emerged in MLS, and they both got the call up to the U23 team, and now they both have an opportunity to solidify their spot in the depth chart, not only for the A team but for the Olympics, ahead of Jonathan Gomez, which is a huge negative for Jogo. And there's also the fact that his brother Johan was also included in the team, so he loses out on some bragging rights there within his family as well, which is never nice to see.
Yeah, I feel like I never expected his brother to get a call-up, to be honest. I see that he was doing well, but it's so unfortunate that their parents can't celebrate because, I mean, he was basically a mainstay with the U20s, and now for the U23s. I'm just going to say this. He's really young, so I don't think it's the end of the world for him there. But yeah, the depth has increased, definitely, especially when he got a way of playing almost as a right back. Des plays as a left back almost regularly now too, so the depth has come out of nowhere, and yeah, I think the chances are looking a little bit slimmer for him short term, but he's still young. I've made the mistake of ruling him out completely in the past. I'm still not his biggest fan, but I think there's still a lot for him to improve on. But I'm actually going for another player that got snubbed on the U23s, Diego Luna. I really like Luna. I think he's a really good player, regularly putting in good performances in the MLS. And the thing that I always look for in leagues, not only the MLS, I'm not bashing MLS, but leagues that I don't think are up to par with the top 5 leagues is what this guy doing, is what he's doing right now. Would it translate in a big league? And when I see Luna, I think it would. I honestly do. Obviously, he would need to deal with the pressure and the way that they mark over there, and also the positioning, how they actually are cohesive in the way they mark. But I think that Luna's a really interesting player. I don't think he's insanely good like some people think, but I think his stock goes down a little bit after being possibly the main guy for that U20 World Cup, you could argue, and then getting snubbed with the U23s. But it's no shame in that, really. I think the midfield is definitely the strongest depth in that team, but I would have liked to see him there regardless. But if you think about it, it's sort of like with Jogo, think that there's Paxton there, and I mean, it does good. Tillman coming out of nowhere for that, not out of nowhere, but really emerging. And then you see Luna's chances, maybe it was just more of a U20 stint, which is sad to see. A lot of players are left along the way in this national team journey, but his stock goes down for me. Now, who's the last player to make your stock up list?
Yeah, I couldn't have this without one A-teamer, and it has to be Fuller and Balogun. Just an absolute dream return to Reims for him, playing for Monaco. I mean, his amazing loan spell that year, last year, really put him on the map and earned him his move to Monaco. And he showed that it was deserved with a goal. He was refusing to celebrate, showing his class, and getting a standing ovation from both sets of fans when he got subbed off, which was a really nice moment to see, just from a emotional perspective. And yeah, I mean, he continues to impress after that incident with the penalties that happened that we won't speak of, but he's really bounced back very well. His mentality has impressed me over the last couple of weeks, which is a really good sign to see from a young player. And he really looks determined to keep pushing, to fight Ben Yedder for his spot in the Monaco team, and fight Pepe as well for his spot with the national team.
Yeah, when he missed 2 penalties, it reminded me when I was a little kid. I'll be brief about this, about a player, Argentinian forward, Palermo. He missed 2 penalties once in the Libertadores in a quarterfinal. I mean, you can only imagine how the fans reacted, and everyone ruled out that this guy was awful, and he was a promising young player. He turned out to become one of the biggest legends for that club, for Boca Juniors, a gigantic club, won the Libertadores. So I hope that the same happens with Balogun, and the way that he's rebounding, I think, like you said, it's really nice to see his mentality and the really class act, the way that he was. It's just nice to see, like you said, emotional to see the entirety of the stadium just giving him a good ovation, and that he's performing. This is what we expect from him, and he is what we expect, but based on our faith on him in regards to what he can do. He didn't really have the stats to back it up, that he would be just not a one-season wonder. So yeah, it's nice to see that happening. And I'm picking another player. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. The big game, Gianluca Buzio. I'm picking his stock to go up because, one, Bjarkason, who's a really good player, Icelandic player, he's made out of glass, so Buzio can keep on getting starts, and he's doing good. He's not, even the games that he's not doing extremely good, he's not doing bad, which is already a big improvement. And it's nice the way that he celebrated the goal. I think it was really nice. Not only his goal, but every goal that we scored. The Tessman's goal, Buzio was the first one to run and jump, celebrating with them. After the game, he was singing with the fans, one of the only players that were actually giving the jerseys, trading it with the ultras. So it seems to be all love between the fans and him again. And it was a nice goal. I couldn't even remember that Buzio could run, honestly. I feel like he's so slow most of the time. It was a nice goal for him to score. And you could see after the goal how it actually affected his game. So I think that maybe, yeah, I thought the mentality part gets overplayed in his case, but maybe he just does need to feel love and to be playing well and confident. And I think that a goal And a good game where Venezia win against Parma, the leaders of Serie B, and really consolidate their bid to go up is all he needed. So hopefully this kick starts this season. And I like this more advanced role that he's playing, almost as a 10, basically. I think it suits him without all the responsibility to be the main player, because Ellerton on the other side does really well. But yeah, Buzio for me. Now, who's the last player to make the stocks down? It was really hard to pick, so I'm curious to see who else made your list, Braden.
Yeah, so this week, like I mentioned earlier, I think this was our best week as a collective American group, just in general for performances. So I'm actually going for the first non-player in Stockwatch history. And it's going to be Greg, and more specifically the recruiting team for the US, because this fall off needs to be studied at Harvard, because we have been notorious for winning every single dual national. I mean, half of our team are dual nationals, let's be honest. And over the past week and a half, we have lost out, or are potentially going to lose out on 5 players, which is absolutely crazy. Losing Tyler Binden, my guy, I'm gutted to see that, to New Zealand, who, I mean, he scored his first professional goal this weekend as well. So would have been nice to have, especially with our center back depth looking pretty bad. Amir Richardson and Zion Suzuki were both called up to Morocco and Japan's national teams respectively. They've committed to them, so that's another 2 that we've lost. And then Luka Kolyasho and Noah Buck, it's looking more and more likely every international window that these 2 players are going to be picking other nations. I mean, Luka Kolyasho getting the promotion from Italy's U20 team to the U21s, called up for their match against Norway in the U21 Euro qualifying, and if he plays, he will be cap tied, which means he'll have to file a one-time switch if he does want to represent our national team in the future. Same thing for Noah Buck. He's going to be playing in U19 Euro qualifying for England, so same thing for him. He'll have to file a one-time switch as well if he ends up getting minutes, which I think both of them will. Obviously, it's not impossible for us to sway them. I mean, we saw Christopher Lund, recent example, played with Denmark at basically every youth level and still ended up picking us. But the way that Noah Buck has been acting and the way that Luka Kolyasho seems to love Italy, I mean, everything on his social media is revolved around Italy. He doesn't even follow the US. It's not looking good for our chances for either of them, which is unfortunate because I think they're 2 very, very good players, along with the other 3 that I mentioned. So I don't know what happened to the recruiting team. Hopefully they can get back on track with the next crop of dual nationals, but this set was definitely a loss.
Yeah, that's interesting to say. It has been one of the bright spots. I mean, you could say the only bright spot of Greg's tenure with the USMNT. And I'm just really puzzled with the Kolyasho thing, because if Luka reads the social media at the Italian national team when he gets called up, most of the comments are saying that they don't like players that are not Italian born. Italians are really adamant on that, unless you're Argentinian, which they consider you're basically Italian, like Camoranesi, who won the World Cup in 2006. There are some other guys, Amori, the guys that played in 2006 for Italy, but Luka Kolyasho, a lot of people in the comments, I always see Italians, if he knows how to, I'm assuming that he knows how to read and speak Italian, they're always saying, I don't know, honestly, they're always saying that why are we calling players that are not born in Italy? Why are we calling players that grew up abroad from the country, don't even look Italian? There's a lot of that in Italy, but you could say, oh, it's a bit of a shame, but there's a lot of national pride there, national identity, and I'm just going to say there are a lot of players that don't cut it within the senior national team for Italy, so if he does, I think you're right, if he does get minutes, which I'm expecting, it will be basically impossible to recruit him to the USMNT. I don't see him giving up on the hope to getting called up to the senior team if he's getting minutes at the Premier League. You can't blame the guy. But if he reads social media, I think not only with the US flags being spammed, but look at what Italians think of you, Luka. I think you should just come home, honestly. But time for me to pick my last player with a stock down. It has to be Haji Wright. He had a good game midweek, got a nod to start this weekend. Obviously, he's been sort of, I'm a little disappointed that he hasn't been the solidified starter for Coventry. They're doing okay, but he missed you could say a really good chance to score. Should have scored, honestly, if that's Balogun you're scoring. And yeah, got the start and had a bad match. Ended up being subbed, and the team looked better without him, so it's not nice to see they had more action and their XG got increased when he was off the pitch. I don't know. I feel like Haji is a bit. He's fast, but he plays really slow. I don't know how to say this. He's really fast sprinting after a center back when he has to press, and he's really slow when he's actually trying to make a run behind the defender. I don't know. But yeah, it has to be Haji, right? I'm sad to say that because I like him, but especially how it's interesting actually if we think about it, how our depth has changed in such little time. It seems like the center back position is now a position that we're a little iffy. Forward, which seemed to be our biggest problem, now we're sort of solved there. We have 2 good forwards, but yeah, that's it for the stock watch for this week. Now let's go to our picks for the next week, and I'm just gonna say, or if I can start, my pick for this week. I was really puzzled with this, and I don't want to go too mainstream, so I'm actually going to pass it over to you, Braden, while I think a little bit about my main pick and my underdog pick. I don't know if it is a bit of an outsider. I'm going to pick Loon to do well for Palermo. I think they're going to have an important game, and playing at home in Sicily is always tough, and I think that it's time now for them to. They have 1 game behind, but now that Parma lost to Venezia, I think it's a good opportunity for them to leapfrog in the table and assume the first position, which I expect Palermo to be by the end of the season. How about you, Braden? Who are your 2 picks?
Yeah, so my mainstream player, I don't know if you can call him mainstream, but he's with the senior national team, and it's going to be Daewon Jones. I think that he has an incredible opportunity, along with Christopher Lund, with Jedi out due to his injury that he seems to be playing through, similar to Mark McKenzie. So I don't know what Greg's really waffling about there, but it's a good opportunity for him to impress. I mean, he can play on both sides, which is good. We like to see the versatility. He's had some good performances recently in MLS. He got an assist in midweek and over the weekend in both games. Even though the Revolution did lose both games, he still got an assist in both, which is nice to see. And I think he's going to be given some minutes, similar to last camp with Jedi out. I mean, this is really his chance to compete with Lund and improve himself as the backup left back. I don't think he will, but it's definitely probably his best opportunity. So I'm going to go for him. And then for my sleeper pick, I'm going to go for someone who got called up to the U23s, and it's going to be another MLS player, Duncan McGuire. I think the U23 team, obviously they have options at striker, but the problem is those options are 2 main strikers for the senior team, in Balogun and Pepe. Probably neither of them are going to be at the Olympics just due to the Copa America. So I think that spot is relatively open. Outside of that, for U23s, we don't really have anyone. And McGuire has just kind of come out of nowhere this season. In his rookie year in MLS, he's scored a goal midweek, the only goal to help Orlando beat Nashville. And then against the Revolution, in the same game against Daewon Jones, he scored another goal to help them clinch second seed in the East, bringing him to 11 goals in the MLS season this year. For someone who's playing in his first season, it's very, very impressive. And this is the first time we've seen him with the national team of any sort. I don't think he's been with any of our youth teams in the past, because he did kind of come out of nowhere, like I said, kind of like Daryl Dike, in a way, another Orlando guy who was drafted from college. But it's a great opportunity for him. Like I said, he's probably going to be the number 1 striker in the group. The other one is Johan Gomez. I don't really rate him too much, especially as a striker. I think he's more of a second striker, like Jesus Ferreira maybe. But yeah, and I think with the lack of striker depth and with the amount of attacking quality we have on the wings and in the midfield, I mean, the midfield group in that team is very, very strong, and even the wingers as well, with the likes of Brian Gutierrez, Taylor Booth, potentially coming back from injury. He's going to have a lot of service, and he's very strong, very physical, dominant in the air. So you know how Greg likes to play. If that same style is implemented in with the U23s, I honestly think McGuire could have a very, very good camp.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him. Honestly, I think it's an unorthodox, the most American route to go pro, to be honest, as well. So I'm rooting for him. And I mean, other than him, who do we have there? Yapi? I mean, it's up for grabs. So yeah, and my mainstream pick, I'm going to back my guy, Tender Testament. I think that he's going to do well. After that showing that, yeah, I was a little bit nervous, but again, nobody really looked good that game. So I think that people are going to see, oh, Testament's he's not horrible. He's going to do well. I'm backing him to do well. So yeah, that's it. That's it for your Stock Watch of the Week. Again, sorry for the delay, guys. Thank you very much, Braden. Thank you for everyone for watching. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share with your friends. We'll see you next time. And please, before we go, make sure to comment down below your picks for the week, whose stock went up or down, and who do you guys back to have the stocks going up for next week. See you guys next time.